Are we there, guys? Can you see my slide?
Yep, all good.
All right, sounds good. I just want to echo what others have said. Sam, Bobby, I appreciate you guys putting this on, and humbled to think of me as a speaker. I hope I can give you guys something to take away from this. Also, Drew from Franklin, thanks for putting on the clinics you've been doing. It's great to sit at the kitchen table and sit in clinic and learn from all the wonderful resources we have that are out there. So really appreciate what everyone's doing. So full disclaimer here, I sent my title in and what I was going to talk about, and then I started building it, and I was like, wow, this is not going to fit in a 15-minute clinic presentation. So I'm going to give you a flyover. If there's questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'll be on here as late as need be. I love talking football. We'll talk with anybody, and I'd be on a Zoom meeting every night if need be, and if people are willing to share and talk. So thanks again for what you guys are doing, and here we go. So there's probably people on here that aren't too familiar with Wisconsin football. We're a Division II school in Superior. Our enrollment's approximately 1,300 people. We're in the Big Rivers Conference, which is the larger school conference in Northwest Wisconsin. We've run an odd stack for approximately 8 seasons. Our personnel management philosophy is we take the 11 best that we have available. And I have an asterisk there because once in a while there's kids that just aren't available to us. Obviously, we'll build through our quarterback, and sometimes, most of the time, our quarterback's off limits to the defense. Now, with that said, we had a kid that was just a physical presence this year that played defense as well. That was one of our quarterbacks. But generally, there are a couple kids that the offense prioritizes, and it makes us a better team, and those are tough decisions, but that's how it goes. Our DNs are almost always former linebackers. We'll get into why we run the stack, but it just has worked out that way for us. Our outside linebackers are usually strong safety type kids. Most years, guys, we have between 8 and 9 linebackers on the field. Okay. One second, I'm sorry, guys. No, mom's up in our bedroom. Talk to her, okay? Kids out of bed, gotta love it. But most years, like I said, we have between 8 and 9 linebackers on the field. Staples that we really hang our hat on that are non-negotiable. It's a theme from, I think, every defensive presentation I've heard tonight, maybe ever. Relentless on coaching, effort, and desire. Our kids they're allowed to make mistakes. We will not berate them, but we will when it comes to effort. That's non-negotiable. We know there's going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes coaching. There's no gray area for my lack of effort, from any of our coaches' lack of effort, or the kids. And it goes in to be great at the things that require no ability, kind of a Bo Ryan staple. If it doesn't take talent, we need to perfect it. We always score in practice, kind of what Ryan was talking about. We rep that. We don't blow the whistle. We let it play out. We're not lighting our kids up blocking, but we practice how to score. We practice how to block. We do not block linemen, and we use that airplane technique, so to speak, as well. Only person who can take the ball out of our hands is the ref. We've been hurt by this before, so we've embedded it. We're not going to tell our kids to jump in the pile when after the whistle blows or anything like that. But you're not letting go of that ball. The ref is going to take it out. We've had kids let go, when they think the play is over, the whistles are blown, or loosen up, and somebody takes it out of their hands, and next thing you know, the official's pointing the other way. So we have a chance to take away. The ref is the only one that's going to take it away from us. Whenever the ball is on the ground, we scoop and score. That's 99.9% of the time. If we can put the game on ice by just getting on the ball, we will, but it's generally we're scooping and scoring. We're practicing that in practice. Incomplete passes in practice, unless it's like a vertical route, overthrow, we are scooping and scoring. So we're embedding that fundamental every day, anytime the ball's on the ground. We used to talk about 11-on-1. This isn't mind-boggling, but it's 13-on-1 with the sideline. We preach that. We leverage that, of course. Red zone, we're always talking about 14-on-1. We put it into our kids' language. They know it, and it becomes a staple of our verbiage. Tackling, obviously work, takeaway, two-way goes, and special teams trump all in our program. It's not, a perfect example is if a kid, played an offensive series and he's a starter on defense and he's tired, he's not going to pull him, and he's on kickoff, he's not going to pull himself on kickoff. If he does, he's going on kickoff, and we're going to rest him on defense. Special teams are too important. That's our philosophy there. Our influences running the stack. Georgia Military, I've had the opportunity to go down there a couple times and clinic with them. They've been really influential with us. Glenbird West comes up again. I don't have a personal relationship with them, but any chance I have to study them, it's been great. And, they've really helped us. St. Xavier High School in Cincinnati with Steve Specht has been great. And then the godfather of the odd stack, Joe Lee Dunn, invented the odd stack defense in the early 90s and then brought it to the SEC and then became famous. So why do we run the odd stack? Okay, it fits our personnel. Lineman body types are at a premium in our program. We do not have a lot of linemen. We have smaller, fast guys, play with a ton of heart, but we do not have the big bodies. So, obviously 5 are going to play defense, and then if we're lucky, we'll get 3 big guys 5 are going to play offense, and then if we're lucky, we're going to get 3 big guys on defense or so. But we need to find a way to stack the deck in our favor. Getting off the bus, we are often an underdog. In warm-up, we are not passing the eye test as it compares to the other team most of the time. We need to find a way to make it work. Coach Croth at Menasha talked about running 22 formations, having to do that sometimes, or he used to have to do that. That's one of the reasons we're multiple, because we need to. We just can't line up and do one thing. Playing the stack gets speed on the field. In 14, we were undefeated up until the state quarterfinals. We lost to a great Menasha team. We had 10 linebackers in our starting defense, 10 kids that played linebacker the previous years. And we see a crazy variety of offenses in our league. It is just within a game, we see crazy offenses. Just a diversity, people are running different things. And then when you stack the season, we need to be able to get in and out of things quickly. And I believe the stack does that. We're lucky. We have a lot of coaches. Our coaches coach one position. They don't coach both sides of the ball. Our position coaches are true gurus. Our defense is a collaboration. They make my life easy as the coordinator. They're always learning, and it's about relationships. And that goes back to the effort. Our coaches are great kid guys. And, if we see a lack of effort or something a controllable that isn't up to standard, we can always track it back to a relationship. To quote a mentor and friend of mine, Randy Jackson, with the culture defeat strategy stuff, those kids have to be able to lay in traffic for you. That's kind of his staple. And our coaches do that. And it's the biggest part of what we do. As far as huddle, we'll tag everything we can and everything. And we're learning more stuff to tag as we go on. But, it takes what it takes. It's a great book, by the way, too. But it really does. I mean, there's no ceiling on time we're going to put in. And we do not believe in outsourcing our data. We're not going to have lower level coaches tag. We're not going to do huddle assist. If we're going to do that stuff, then they should call the defense, because that's how you get in there and you learn tendencies and what people are doing. And same with, we'll pad everything as well. All right, so what is multiple? We have 2 ways of getting there within our structure. When you talk to diehard odd stack guys, they're going to say multiple is, you have a three-man front, obviously. You send a 4, you send 4, so you're blitzing 1, you're pressuring with 1, that's a 4-man front. You send 2, that's a 5-man front. So within our base tags, we can get anywhere from an 8-man to a 2-man front. A lot of times, they're untraditional. I think that's probably a strength as long as we're gap sound. And we just need to make sure that we are gap sound and for the schedule. If it's 3rd and 18, we'll compromise. We'll have some 2 gap players in there. And we don't have to be as gap sound as obviously 3rd and 3. We're a big leverage. We're always repping leverage, always drilling leverage. It's come out. It's a staple for us. And as far as front for this and what we're talking about, it's on ball players. It's on the line of scrimmage. And then there's using our existing concepts to align and execute traditional fronts. So there's 2 ways that we get to multiple. All right, so here's how we make it work. If everybody runs different stuff, and no one's going to copy our playbook or their playbook or whatever. You're going to run what you run for the most part, and grow and develop that and build off that and scaffold or whatever. But here's how we're allowed. Here's what works for us to be multiple. When we go to Indy, we have all 22 positions going at once. We're not I've heard this defined different ways too, but 2 platoon or 1 platoon, whatever. Our kids all play 2 positions. Now, most play an offensive and a defensive position. And we'll have some 2-way players and we'll have some 1.5 players and stuff. But when we go to Indy, we'll have 22 positions going at a time. And for example, let's say we go 6 periods, so we're going to go 30 minutes of Indy. We'll break that down into 2 15-minute Indy sessions. And our varsity will go offense first, our JV will go defense first. So that everyone's being coached by the JV is being coached by the varsity players, and then after 15 minutes, we'll flip that. Well, the great thing in that is our kids most of them are playing 2 positions. We can have a kid play 2 defensive positions. So we're primarily an offensive 10 personnel team. So our tight end types, our fullback types, they can play 2 defensive positions and don't have to worry about offense. So now we can have a kid play D end and Sam linebacker, and they're drilling it for 15 minutes every day in practice. And so it just allows for depth. It allows for versatility. Last year we had 3 or 4 kids that were just defensive players, but they played 2 or 3 positions. And it really allows us to be flexible. It also allows our one-way players to double up. I look at our nose last year. He was primarily all a defensive player. So he practiced, D-line for 30 minutes every day. He didn't flip. Or if we need to get a kid, we have an injury, we need to get a kid caught up. Let's say we had a backup linebacker that, needs to be a 3 technique, and he's never played 3 technique. Well, he's a backup linebacker. It's week 9. We're going to hold him out of linebacker, and he's going to practice that 3 technique for 30 minutes, both Indy sessions. So it allows us to do quite a bit there. And here's the structure of it. Here's I just took a screenshot of our practice plan. So like I explained, here's a little visual. But in this case, periods 3, 4, and 5, our varsity went D, and our JV went O, and then we flip it. Our varsity goes O, our JV goes D. And we may have a kid that plays slot for us, slot back and split end. Well, then he's going to go to split end in the early Indy, and then slot at the second Indy. Another thing that allows us to do this, we are really relentless coaching the win team. That's what we call our scout team. But we have great buy-in. We have to kick some kids out that are 2-way players that want to jump in on the win team or whatever. But we are relentless coaching. That's kind of our lab, running the scout D. Yeah, we're going to give the look, and we're going to do what our opponent says, but we're going to play with kids and put them in different positions, and they'll surface once in a while. When I say once in a while, pretty often. And all of a sudden, wow, this kid can do this. This kid can. So we're coaching through that. We're utilizing that team, that time, and we are just building our depth. And all the time, we'll find out kids can do this. Kids can do this. They can do that. And then they're learning a niche. And now we have a package for them to go in the game. And sometimes we'll play with 17, 18 defensive starters with personnel groups and stuff. And we have a drill that we use regularly with leverage. It's called set the net drill. I can't really get into it right now just for the sake of time. But it's a full field, full team, tons of people moving, just working force alley fold over and over and over, working our triangles that are so important in defensive football. And then another thing that helps us is we feel like we're extremely efficient when we go to group and team D. So that set the net drill comes up. It's a 5-minute. The whole program's moving 10, 12. They're in 5 minutes. Each kid's probably getting 10 to 15 reps of full open field reps. It's kind of a conditioning piece too. And on this day, we go half lines. We believe in half lines pretty wholeheartedly. And our goal here is to get 90 plays in 15 minutes. So in the half line structure here, we'll have 2 scout teams per half, and they are going rapid fire. So the first scout team, whether it be the strong side or the boundary side, whatever we're doing, or the field or weak side, whatever, they will just rapid fire. When one goes, the next goes, the next goes, the next goes. And we don't really have a whole lot of time to teach in there. The teaching is on film and the correcting is on film. Then we'll go team D. On this day, we're emphasizing, third and manageable. And our goal is 45 plays. We go 2 scout teams. We are going rapid fire. We have coaches that are coaching the scout O team. They're totally bought in. They're making it competitive. And some days, Coach DeMeyer, our head coach, will allow us to get 3 scout teams going. And so 45 times in 15 minutes, that's 45 times we're getting our eyes right, we're getting our alignments right, we're getting our assignment right. And we're going. And it just has really, really allowed us to be multiple. All right, how we organize our new fronts and concepts. So it's just a screenshot of our huddle installs. We'll use huddle install for all our new stuff each week. So, and we like to go into, we like to stack our toolbox with a lot of new stuff. And we're just building, we're scaffolding on other concepts we've used, tagging one more word in our verbiage, and we're doing a lot. So you'll see, level 1 against Marshfield, we had 11 new concepts. Now, out of those 11, we ran 9 of them in the game. And it seems to work out pretty good. And sometimes we'll trash them. We get to Wednesday and kids aren't picking up on it. We need to be able to have a good barometer on what they can handle and what they can't. So here's our base front, similar to what Ryan put up. Our base stack is 4s and 0s, and a 0, and then we stack our inside backers, of course. This is against 10 personnel. We're a 1 high structure in our base here. We are up front, we're gap exchange. The guy in front of you is responsible for 1 gap. At a minimum, the linebacker behind them is responsible for the other. We can shade anyway. The sky's the limit as far as different shades and different alignments up front and moving and rattling and stemming and whatever we want to call it. All right, so being multiple, like I said, there's 2 ways we look at multiple. Being multiple within our base calls, and then being multiple running a different traditional front. So here's just a tough call. We're bringing our Sam linebacker down into a 6 technique. We're balancing up our inside linebackers. It's a good look when teams are trying to run strong. And that Sam linebacker now, he can practice as a D end and he can practice as a stack linebacker under our structure of Indy time. So he can really become proficient doing 2 things. He's getting 15 minutes of time for each position every day. Tough call to power I. We see it all. We see some 32 personnel. All right, now he's just in a 9 technique. He works that way. He works that, like I said, 15 minutes a day, as well as being a Sam linebacker. And we like this running going into the strong side. We have a 9. We have an overhang. We feel pretty good about it with a 60 linebacker back there as well. All right, now here's another way to be multiple. Obviously a 3-man front. Stat guys will tell you this is a 5-man front. It's our Florida call. So the way we tag our fire zone stuff is anything Florida related. The D line's doing the same thing. And then the linebackers need to know if it's Florida, Miami, Tampa, whatever. This orange we've had, Sharks, we can have fun with it, beach. Anything Florida tag is another linebacker movement. So we tag anything Florida, the D line's doing one thing, anything they hear with a Florida theme, they're doing it. And then the linebackers are fitting off that. We'll rep that a ton pre-practice, post-practice on cans, and we'll get it. The Blue Fox part of this, talking multiplicity here, can be in the back end as well. All right, so we're Blue Fox means we're in our cover 3, but we're going to show a 2 high, and then we're going to roll down, and our overhangs are just flat players here, and we're running a cover 3. Talk about Florida, we have Texas, Wisconsin. The sky's the limit as long as the kids are willing to comprehend and know what we're talking about. And then we get into traditional stuff. Our Packer series, traditional 4-3. We have a 3 and a 1 in our base Packer stuff. Now, the red positions here, okay, in order to get here, we had our overhang, our strong or field side overhang was a bandit. We didn't have a player that excelled at that this year. So to be honest with you, we didn't run our base at all this year. Now, base concepts, but in other traditional fronts. So that bandit, we made a Will, and but he also, we didn't know we weren't going to run our base all year, so he also trained at bandit and Will in both Indy sessions. And then we moved our 5th linebacker. So on our 2 deep, he's a tough kid, 3 technique, and we put him down there, and he practiced 3 technique. And he was a backup linebacker all year, and he really excelled at 3 technique, and he was a game wrecker at times. And it's just utilizing how can we get our best 11 on the field in the best position to combat and play to our strengths and cover up our weaknesses. Go to 3-4 from our base personnel. Pretty simple. Most stack teams do this. we're just bumping out an inside linebacker, in this case our Will, and moving back our Rover. Our Rover trains as a safety and an outside linebacker as well. This is, prevent stuff, man under cover 2 stuff. Going through some film here. 1 second here, guys. We'll get there. It's just not allowing me to maximize. Here we go. Where'd my huddle go? Just 1 second here, guys. There it is. All right, you see my huddle now? Thumbs up or let me know.
Yep.
Sam, thanks.
Good.
Sorry about the delay there.
No worries.
All right, so we'll go through a little film here. All right, so here we're in our Packer stuff, 4-3, okay? And we're gonna get into a, what I call a 50 front. We're just gonna bring one. It's Chad Hedlett's open blitz. Okay, I believe this is level 1 against Marshfield this year. All right, so it's just a way to get 5 guys on the ball, and that's our simplest way to be multiple. Don't need to see that for now. Okay, same thing, our open blitz right here. Okay, now this is from our stack look. Okay, it's just our center divide. It's his open, and I view this as a four-man front. The offense, and maybe that's some of what we like about it. The offense is under center. Here's a beer team, Hudson, and they're counting numbers and whatnot. They look at it as a 3-man front. So it's pretty simple, but at the root of it, another 4-man front. We're just looping our mic, passing situation more than likely, and we get home with it. All right, now we'll have a tag. Any blitz we run, regardless of what front we're running, we can tag show. All right, and that's just going to have our guys be on-ball players. So our bat blitz is our Sam and our Will. They're blitzing the gap they're responsible for on any given play. Okay, but then now they're up, they're showing. So now we're presenting a 50 front. Okay, but they're coming, and we have bluff calls and rattle, and we'll stem and do all kinds of stuff. But it's just an easy tag. Nothing changes as far as responsibility. Nothing changes as far as their eyes, but it can appear differently to the offense. And here's the same. Here's the same blitz. Okay, it's our bat blitz, but now we're doing it from depth. All right, here's our 3-4 look. In another case where it's kind of in a soft prevent. Yeah, we're against 30 personnel. We're pretty soft in the box a little bit, and playing some man under cover 2 for the situation. And we're just moving our overhang back. He also trains as a safety. Okay, we're moving our Will out. He also trained as a outside linebacker. So we're not asking kids to do what they don't practice. Now we'll get into some of our traditional stuff. Okay, here's our 4-3 Packer call. Right here, we're in a 2 high, and we're being pretty static with it. We're just running quarters here. But it allows our kids, okay, every one of those kids except our nose is a linebacker, as trained as a linebacker. But they also get time, or they've moved over to DN, but linebacker, another reason we run a stack is because it's linebacker full, and that's the body types we have. But sometimes the slower kids, that play linebacker are moved to DN. And grades 3 through 10, 3 through JV, they're running an odd stack. We don't allow them to be multiple. When they get to varsity, then we can play with them. But here's just the end zone of it, and just pretty simple 4-3. But like I said, cross training those kids allow us to do it. Now here's another multiple look. This is like Jed Kennedy from the other night. Those guys that were on. It's like our up package. It's like his up package. We call it Psycho, and we'll do what he does. We'll send one more than can be blocked, but we can tag any defensive call Psycho. And most of the time, all our box players are on the ball, and doesn't mean some won't drop. Doesn't mean we won't run a game and a twist or a stunt, but and we'll bring them all, of course, sometimes too, like he does. But it confuses people. We move around with it, and we don't run it a ton, but we'll pull it out, and we probably should run it more than we have. But right here, we're executing our saw blitz, and all we tag is Psycho. So our kids love it, of course, and they are they always want to run Psycho, but it's just a good change up, and it gets some juice in the game sometimes when we need it, and a lot of times we can overwhelm some people with it. That's what it looks like from the tight. Let's move into the football here. All right, here's the same thing. Now it's a Packer pop and drop. So our nose is dropping now, and we're bringing it. Now these guys aren't on the ball because they're not very good on the ball. We're going to play to their strengths. Most years we can bring these guys up, and we're going to have everybody on the ball with it. And now some will drop, the ones that aren't coming, but they were just better blitzing from depth. So why put them on the line if that's not their strength? Here's our missile look. Once again, this is a couple years ago, but our free safety was a linebacker all the way up through 11th grade. So that's an easy transition, build on his skill set. We ran some cover zero, dropped him down into Will. Our Sam was over here to the field, and he is playing in a 6 technique. He was a DN this year, or excuse me, he was a DN as a freshman. We built on that. We moved him to linebacker, but we also kept that in mind, and we can play him down sometimes. And the more we can do it without subbing out personnel, obviously, the better. Okay, I'm sorry, he was in a 9 here, but a 9 with an overhang. Same look that I showed you on paper earlier. Okay, same stuff. We can, for the sake of time, we can bypass that. All right, here's another example. We going back some time. I think this is 14. I alluded to that year. In our base, we had 10 linebackers on the field at a time. This is a sub package. They had James. This is level 2 up at our place. They had James Morgan, who's going to be drafted here in a couple of days. They rode him, and why wouldn't you, right? I don't fault them at all. They had a huge, good offensive line, and they were going to chuck it around. And so we got in our blue bullet package here. We're playing a man under cover 3, and I know it's 3rd and 8 here. We were playing that in second and 4, 3rd and 3, and daring them to run the ball. And they did run the ball a little bit, but we knew that they were going to go with what got them there, and that was James Morgan. And who wouldn't? He was a tremendous guy, but tremendous quarterback. And we'll show one thing and back out and bail quite a bit. We didn't do it enough here, but you can see he's really an overhang, is doing that here. Now what this did is it allowed us to play some volleyball. We played some under coverage here, of course. It's a drop by our Mike. He didn't have a man. Okay, but in this game, we were able to, that's one of the best quarterbacks in Wisconsin history here, Wisconsin high school football. And we were able to play under coverage with 3 over the top. So anytime there was volleyball being played, we were able to get an interception. We were able to intercept them 4 times this game, which, we got lucky a little bit too, and that's part of it. But, I don't know. I don't want to take anything away from our kids, but lining up and playing cover 3 against them or cover 1 or whatever, any of our other stuff, is asking for a long day, and why not tilt the deck? Now, they could have taken us out of this by running it down our throats, and that could happen. Our kids stood up pretty quick or pretty well, but we're just all about stacking the deck what we can. Play to our strengths and eliminate our weaknesses and know what the opponent's going to do or try and do and try and combat it the best you can. Okay, more blue bullet here. And I'll skip this one. But another, it's also important to know when you're, and I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but when we're trying to be multiple, I guess I didn't have it. But so here's level 3 this year, I believe. We're playing Kakana. They were injured in their backfield, so they weren't full strength, so we knew they were going to run the ball. And this is the last play of the game, so maybe it's an unfair clip, but we'd run this mid-game too. Yellow is our quarters coverage, so we put in lemon drop this week. We knew they'd throw the ball a lot, so we knew we could be soft in the box at times. So we ran our quarters here, but by alignment, we threw our linebackers into the flats already. And just to present a different look, take stuff away, to get them on the body right away and redirect. And it worked out pretty well for us. I do. If we were talking about secondary technique and fundamentals, this clip would not be in here. I do not like our outside linebacker or linebacker technique here. We're just getting after it with 4 up front. We're spying the quarterback here. He becomes a little too aggressive for my liking. These guys are flat players. There's no flat. So we're going to carry, like Ryan was talking about, we are going to carry the vertical. We tell them body the vertical, eyes on the flat. But we're going to carry the vertical as long as there's not a flat. We have some contact here. We want to put these guys on the ground. He's being a little passive for my liking. Okay, our DNs are maintaining leverage. Okay, this was a sub package. He's our next linebacker in. He's the kid I talked about earlier. Called this our itty bitty package. And last play of the game, I think he played 3 plays all game, but a gutsy kid that could do the one thing we were asking him to do here. And we could go. And tight game. I mean, the game was in balance here, last play of the game, and we were fortunate to get it. Another thing as far as being multiple, this fellow here made it go. He's a special player. In his recruiting tape this year, in the last 2 years, he had 6 positions that he was able to put in his highlight film that he was excelling at. And it just goes back to our structure. And he's gonna stay here and go to UMD. But our kids buy into it too. When you can put 6 different positions that you're doing well on a highlight film that you're sending to recruiters, usually good things are going to happen. Just have a couple more clips here, guys. So here's back to that James Morgan deal. Now, you all probably have this, but we have a lot of site audibles. If they're in this, we're out of it and we're in this. So for this particular game, they ran some 20 personnel. We're not going to sit with a 4-man box against 20 personnel. We rep this, see a lot of high volume of plays during group and team time. So this becomes clockwork. And so the call here was the blue bullet. As you can see, they come out in 20, we come down. And then I think it's important to note that we have lock calls as well. So here we're supposed to get in the look that I showed you earlier against 32 personnel. Okay, so I wanted something different. So we got into a base look here, just called whatever we're doing up front, and blue lock, blue's our coverage here, and lock. All right, you have a pretty good idea what personnel groups they're gonna be in anyway by managing eyes on their substitutions and whatnot. But it just gives a different look. So it's not, hey, when we get in this, they're in this. When we get in this, we know they're always going to be in this. So we'll throw our lock call in there quite a bit and try and tilt the deck as much as we can into our favor. So that's the film there, guys. And see if I can get back. And so I'd be happy to answer any questions. And let me put my contact information on here. If anybody wants to talk at any time, give me a call, get a hold of me. Love to talk football. We do not have the answers for really anything. I better not be anywhere near my ceiling as far as learning and doing stuff for my career. Hopefully I'm just getting started here. But looking to learn, looking to share. So please get a hold of me. I will talk football at any time with anybody, and I would love to do so. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take them. Otherwise, I'll probably hang out here for a while afterwards if this is still going on and we can talk.
We don't have any right now, so.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.